Hi, y'all. I am ready to rock and roll. I'm just typing in the title here. I'm going to wait for a few people to get on, and then we'll rock and roll, guys. Hi, y'all. I'm just setting up my other device. Waiting for a few people to get on in here, and then we'll get started in another minute or two. How y'all doing? Doo-doo. My girlfriend said to me, they said, when do you come on so late? I be asleep by the time you come on. I'm like, girl, you got two small kids at home. You should be asleep by the time. And I did it so that people with children can, I guess kind of have the kids in bed and be ready to get on and hear some grown adult conversation. And then another one of my girlfriends said, child, please, ain't nobody kids in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock. They up. Kids are grown. And it's summertime. It's summertime, so the kids are out of school or they're in camp. And, going to bed super early is not that important. Okay. I think we're ready to boogie. Come on in, come on in, come on in. So I want to say I apologize for the delay, had some technical difficulties, but I'm ready to rock and roll now. And so let's get this party started. And so I wanted to talk about attachment styles. Um, Very briefly, it's a long, lengthy, deep um, theory. It has a lot of research, a lot of history, and so tonight I just want to scratch the surface, let you guys know what the four different attachment styles are, and how they show up in adult relationships. I'm not going to focus too much on the childhood piece and the onset of it, but stay with me. You're going to understand why it's important to understand your attachment style. So before you get focused on anybody else's attachment style, okay, let me put this disclaimer out there. This is not intended for you to blame or shame or attack your parents, whoever took care of you, no caregiver. You're an adult now. This is for adults. This is how earlier um, things, attachments, or whatever the case may have been, how it affects you now as an adult in your relationships, okay? So, again, this is not an opportunity to blame your parents for anything or your past, your upbringing. You're an adult now. The beauty of it is recognizing what it is that you need to work on and work on it. That's it. That's all we can do. I always say our childhood, our parents, our caregivers, family members, they screw us up, but as an adult, it's our job to heal, rewire our minds, change your perspective, and rewrite your story, the meaning you give to the experiences that you've had, okay? So that they no longer keep you in mental or emotional bondage. Okay, so attachment is simply an emotional relationship which involves the exchange of comfort, care, and pleasure. Okay? And so that's just a simple definition I threw together. But John Bowlby, he is the theorist who, in the 60s and 70s, he did a lot of research, I mean, very extensive research on the attachment theory and how it affects children and how it extends past childhood into adulthood and helps us to identify how those earlier relationship dynamics between the child and their caregivers affect how they have relationships as adults. And so John Bowlby, he describes the attachment styles as a lasting psychological connectedness between human beings. You hear that? Lasting psychological connectedness. So, how are you connecting in your friendships, relationships? All of those things reveal your attachment style. Okay? And so, the reason why I want to talk about it, and this is only a part one, okay? Because again, it's really long and lengthy, but I'm going to condense it because we don't got that kind of time. And so, the reason why I want to talk about attachment styles is because a lot of times we struggle with communicating, we struggle with being vulnerable, we struggle with we want to be in control of everything in a relationship because we don't feel safe. And so, like, I'm on a little quest to helping people demystify their relationship dynamics and strengthen them, strengthen how you have relationship with yourself and others. Okay, so it's good to kind of get the underpinning of what's going on and possibly why you struggle to have healthy and fulfilling relationships. And again, this is for you to focus on your relationship dynamics and your attachment style, not your partner. Oh, I know that he's avoidant. That's why nothing ever works out for us. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Because if he's so avoidant, why do you entertain that? Okay? There's something in you that's attracted to a person who's emotionally unavailable. So again, I'm going to get there. Let's go. Okay, so again, attachment style is defined by John Bowlby, the attachment theorist, as a lasting psychological connectedness between human beings. And the reason why lasting psychological connectedness is important, because a lot of people think, oh, okay, that's only in childhood. It talks about how the child responded to the caregiver, or if the caregiver or parent did not meet the child's emotional needs, or if the child is crying, they ignored the child all the time. And so the child has these different behaviors. No, it lasts from childhood into adulthood. It just shows up a little differently. And so let's go over the 4 different attachment styles, okay? And I'm going to tell you why it's important after I give you some quick examples. So the attachment style that we all should be striving to have is called the secure attachment. And so those characteristics are pretty much when a child cried, expressed some frustration, they needed something from their parent responded quickly, their parent was very affectionate, their parent prioritized their child's emotional needs, okay? That parent was not distant, that parent was very, responsive to that child's emotional needs. And so as a child, a child with a secure attachment, they were able to separate from their parent, not cry, not fall out, but feel confident that that parent is, I'll go back to my parent, I'm fine. Also, they seek the comfort of their parents when frightened. Also, this child has a very good they have a confidence, a sense of confidence as a child, because their emotional needs are met. They're not rejected, they're not shamed, they're not screamed at for crying, having an emotion. That parent is saying, Johnny, what is wrong? Tell me what's wrong. Or they're being soothed, they're being held, their needs are being met when they are showing signs of distress, unhappiness, or dis-ease, okay? Dis-ease. Now, as adults, secure attachment looks like an adult that has trusting and lasting relationships, an adult that tends to have a good sense of self and self-esteem. Also, they're very comfortable in sharing their feelings with their partners and friends. Again, this is secure attachment style amongst an adult. And also, a securely attached adult seeks out social support. This is a individual who does not mind saying, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I need assistance or support with. Can you support me? They're not afraid to share their emotions. They're not afraid to be vulnerable because they're securely attached. So if you reject them, they're not going to fall apart. They're not going to take it personally and feel like, oh my God, maybe if I was skinnier, I would not have been rejected. They don't have those insecure thoughts. So they're secure in who they are. They have a good sense of self. They have a high self-esteem because in their earlier years, someone helped them to feel secure when their emotional needs were present. Whatever their dis-ease was, someone met their needs. Okay, so secure attachment, that's what we should be striving to be securely attached. And also, let me say this, even if you have one of the not so positive attachment styles, that can change. That can change at any time. Even those with a secure attachment style, they may grow up very confident, very positive, and then in their 20s, 30s, or 40s, fall in love with somebody who is emotionally unavailable. Someone, let's say, is an avoidant attachment style, and that person is emotionally unavailable. That person is not sensitive. That person is really emotionally distant in the relationship and kind of guarded. That can tarnish a securely attached person. That can discourage a securely attached person and cause them to feel insecure, cause them to feel frightened that their partner is rejecting them and start to take it personally. So that securely attached person, that can actually change depending upon the relationship dynamic they have with their partner or, in a significant relationship. So these can change. So don't get discouraged and feel like, oh, I'm doomed if I have an ambivalent attachment style or avoidant attachment style or anxious attachment style. There is hope, guys. That's why you have to be aware of it. Knowledge is power, right? So when you're aware of something, you can address it and heal it. So the second attachment style is ambivalent attachment. And so pretty much what that is in childhood, you see a child who is extremely suspicious of others, right? And so when they're suspicious of others as a child, that means that when they are separated from their caregiver or parent, they are in distress. They cry. So, it's that child that you don't want to watch because as soon as their parent leaves, they're going to be screaming and crying the whole evening. So you're like, come get your child. I can't watch her. She's crying too much. Please come back. I had a cousin like that. Oh my God. If her mother stepped out the room, she would fall on the floor. Like she could not be separated from her mother. So anyway, so the ambivalent attachment style characteristics in children show up as a child who is very wary of strangers, a child who becomes greatly distressed when their parents are not in the room, and a child that does not appear comforted when their parent comes back. So even sometimes when their parent returns to the room, the ambivalence is the up and down, right? The hot or cold. So ambivalence, they may be comforted by their parent when their parent returns, they may not be. And in an adult, the ambivalent attachment style, the characteristics include they're reluctant to become close to others, okay? They worry that their partner does not really love them. So they question, is this person genuinely interested in me? Is this person's love authentic? Like, why would they like me? Why would they care about me? Okay? And you can kind of get from the early childhood experience why this person who has this attachment style would think like that. Also, as an adult, they become very distant. They become very distraught when the relationship ends. So when someone ends a relationship or they see the relationship is falling apart, they become very emotionally distressed about it. And sometimes they struggle to even see that because of their behavior, that is why the relationship has fallen apart. So that's the ambivalent attachment. And so my favorite one, and you guys will understand why, this is one that we know of, is very easy, the avoidant attachment style. Okay? And so basically the avoidant attachment style is pretty much when an individual struggles with intimacy. The individual struggles with being close to others. When they feel like somebody's getting real close, they start to push people away. They back up. They pull away from the person they're building a relationship with, even in friendships, when they feel like the person's getting a little too close, they like, let me back this thing on up. Let me do something to sabotage it because, I'm not comfortable with people treating me kind. I'm not comfortable with people meeting my needs. It's awkward to me. I'm not familiar with it. Like, for instance, you guys ever hear a female say, he's just too nice. Girl, where he at? And the sad part is we may judge a person who say she's too nice, or a guy who says she's boring, she doesn't party, she doesn't this, she doesn't that. What it is that certain attachment styles teach us and condition us to accept dysfunction, basically. I'm trying not to say it, I'm trying to be easy about it, but I said it, okay? And it teaches you to accept a person who's emotionally unavailable, a person who's not going to meet your emotional needs, a person who you're going to have to over compensate and accommodate to get their love, affection, and attention. Toxic things to have going on in your adult relationships, okay? So back to the avoidant person, the avoidant attachment. So again, the avoidant child, in childhood, this child may avoid their parents when they're in distress because they have realized when I'm crying, when I have a need, my parent does not, oh baby, come here, tell me what's going on. Parent will walk by them like they don't even hear the child screaming and crying. Or the parent will say, shut up, stop crying, you're embarrassing me. So that teaches a child, my needs are not going to get met. When I'm upset and sad, I need to keep it to myself. Or somebody else in the family is going to address my needs, when our emotional system is set up for our mother or fathers to really respond to our emotional needs. Which is crazy, but y'all got to talk to Jesus about that. Anyway, so again, as children, they may avoid their parents when they have emotional needs. They do not seek much contact or comfort from their parents. Also, they show little preference for their parents over strangers, which is sad. Anyway, in adulthood, you see the avoidant attachment style with an adult who has trouble with intimacy. They invest little emotional exchange in their romantic relationships, meaning women. Okay, for instance, I've dated men who are emotionally unavailable, who struggle to express how they feel about me, who struggle to, just do the things you did when I first met you. Because when you first meet people, they introduce you to their what is it called? They introduce you to their representative, right? So people know what to do to bait you in, but then when you in, then the mask comes off and you see homeboy got a wall up that's so thick, got trust issues, all kind of stuff going on. So it's good to pay attention to these things so that you can acknowledge it in yourself first, and then acknowledge what it is that you need in your relationships for you to feel fulfilled. And so, again, with an adult who has an avoidant attachment style, this person, again, they withhold their emotions in the relationship, which can leave their partner feeling neglected emotionally. Also, they experience little distress when the relationship is over. So some people you look at and it seems like they pick up and move on quite easily and smoothly. That's probably because they were not that emotionally connected to the relationship or person in the first place. Also, they avoid intimacy, meaning that they use excuses, I'm working late, or they may fantasize about other people during sex. That's what research said. Okay, all right. Also, adults with avoidant attachment style, they are more likely to engage in casual sex. Okay, because the burden of having a real, intimate, and solid relationship is too much for them to handle. That closeness is too much for them. Having to be responsible to somebody on a regular basis, that is too much for them. And a lot of times they just fear that their needs won't be met. They're used to people dismissing, denying, and not meeting their needs. So what they do is close off their emotions. They do just enough to entertain somebody and, build a pseudo relationship, so that they're not lonely, but you'll feel alone in a relationship with a person who's avoidant. Okay, you'll feel alone. Also, research says that this person, an avoidant person, has a failure to support their partners during stressful times and has an inability to share feelings, thoughts, and emotions with their partners. Keep in mind, guys, pay attention to your own attachment style, okay? This is not for you to point out what your partner got. Identify it in yourself first, okay? And so then we have the disorganized attachment style. And this pretty much, research says that it does not show up in children that much. I think it's like 15%. No, 7 to 12% of children may experience it. However, what it is a child who has mixed emotions. So sometimes they want to be comforted by their parents, sometimes they don't. They can be easily comforted by strangers, someone they never even seen before, because they've received mixed messages from that parent, when they were crying or needed to be comforted, and things of that nature. And so with disorganized attachment, pretty much that is a person who has severe trust issues, a person who has mixed behavior. They're very avoidant and resistant. So you'll see a lot of avoidance and resistance. They make relationships more difficult than they need to be because they are so avoidant and resistant. Also, they're very apprehensive with people that care about them. So that is a disorganized attachment. And so the reason why we needed to hear about this, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of people, we are in relationships. We're created to connect with other people. And so knowing the attachment styles will help you to understand how it is that you like to interact and connect with other people, right? And so a lot of relationships struggle because people are not being vulnerable with their partners. People are not being transparent with their partners. We go into relationships with all this baggage, wounds. We got the guard up. We're not really allowing our partner into what's bothering us and what's going on with us. And my first suggestion to that is you have to do your own work, okay? You can't feel like, oh, I need someone in my life so that they can fill me up and make me feel important. They can increase my self-esteem. Don't give somebody that kind of power, okay? You have to start with yourself. If you can't give it to yourself, you can't feel confident and beautiful and adequate by yourself, you're probably not going to feel it in a relationship. Or if you are a person who's always in relationships, because I know of some people, they're always in a relationship. Soon as one ending, give them 45 days, they'll be in another relationship. No judgment, but I'm just like, dang, do you give yourself time to process and release whatever went on from the other relationship? Did you process what you've learned and what you want to do differently in this other relationship? They don't care. They move on, brush the shoulders off, they keep it moving. No judgment, do your thing. Anyway, so according to the research, the quality of your relationship is going to affect how you feel and see yourself. So when we're dealing with attachment styles, because you may be in love with somebody who is anxious, right? Their attachment style is anxious. That means they're always worried about if the relationship is going to end. They're very fearful of rejection. They're always questioning if you really love them, if you're really going to meet their needs, right? And that's because they've grown up with people disappointing them, not meeting their needs, dismissing their needs, not addressing or comforting them when they needed to. And so pretty much we have to get to a place where we feel safe in our relationships, safe to be vulnerable with our partners, safe to receive what it is they're going through. Because it's not just about us. You need to also be a listening ear. You also need to be compassionate. with your friend or intimate partner or spouse, other people want to feel like you are emotionally safe. And let me just tell you this, if you do not feel emotionally safe with somebody and you're in a committed relationship with them, that's a problem. That is a problem. And when I say emotionally safe, that means that if I tell you the reason why I snap on you for something that doesn't even require me snapping is because XYZ, or this happened to me before, or my ex used to push me down the steps when he was upset with me. Whatever it is, I'm just making up something, okay? If I tell you that and you dismiss it, or I feel like I'm being rejected and I'm sharing something deep with you in a relationship, that is going to cause me to feel like I cannot express to you my truth. I can express deep things to, within myself, experiences and things that are sacred to me. I don't feel comfortable expressing that with my man. So when a woman does not feel emotionally safe within her relationship, okay, she's going to express it to somebody. Okay, hey, I don't know who she's going to express it to, but brother, you would want it to be you, okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, and so, so I'm just going to give you 3 things that we should be striving for when we realize that we have some of these emotional challenges showing up in our relationships, or it's blocking our ability to connect in a relationship. So what you can do, 1, breathe, talk to a therapist about your relationship challenges. Talk to your therapist about any trauma you've experienced emotionally as a child that you see still showing up. Like, for instance, I know that I was watching some show and there was a female who said that her father always stood her up. Like, he would tell her he's coming, always stood her up. And so even though she had a good relationship with her mom, her father not being there for her, her father disappointing her, what do you think her perspective is with men? And so she goes into relationships avoidant, okay? She does not allow herself to emotionally connect with men. She is in it for the moment. She expects men to disappoint her. She does not share her true feelings and emotions with the man. So it's like you're wasting your time and another person's time because you're still grieving something that happened to you. And now other people are going to pay for what has happened to you because you don't want to deal with your mess. Your man, your husband, your spouse, he's not your daddy. He can't heal the father wound. And men, no woman can heal your motherless wound. Not motherless in the sense that your mother is dead or deceased, but whatever you needed to get from your mother that you did not get, not saying your mother's bad, your father's bad, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about relationship dynamics. Whatever you needed but you did not receive, no woman can give it to you. Ladies, no penis can give it to you, no money, no sex. Nothing can give that to you. That's something you're going to have to work on with prayer, some therapy, affirming yourself, and rewriting your story. Rewrite the meaning you gave to yourself about those experiences, okay? So that you can release it, okay? And so the biggest thing here is intervention is what you're going to need. You're going to also have to work on your core beliefs. What do you believe about yourself? The way people respond to you when you express yourself or you have needs. What do you tell yourself about those responses? That's going to tell you about your your attachment style. If you feel like for me, I don't like for people to help me. I do not like for people to help me. I could be on fire. You could have a bucket of water. I'm going to stand in my corner. I'm going to burn, okay? Because I don't want to ask you. Now, if you offer to throw the water on me to help me, praise God. But as far as me opening my mouth to ask you, that used to be a huge, huge struggle for me. I mean, huge struggle for me. I could give y'all some examples of how bad it used to be, but I'm not going to do that to y'all tonight. But it used to be bad. Like, I'd be damn near homeless before I ask somebody to let me sleep on their sofa, okay? And that is horrible because I realized I had that same mindset when a man is trying to build something with me. I would say no. I'm okay. I got it. I can handle it. And it's like, Wendy, if you can handle everything, then what space are you leaving for a man? All my strong-willed women. Keep that in mind. So if you can handle everything and you don't need a man, okay, that's going to cause him to feel like he's not needed. And when a man feels like he's not needed in any way, he going to go somewhere that he is needed. Boop. Anyway, so so pay attention to those things, okay? We don't label them as attachment issues or challenges, but it shows up in your relationships. What are the themes? What is it that you need that you did not get? And the healing process is nothing but a grief process, okay? Grief is a process because basically you're going to be thinking about the things that you needed, the things that you wanted, how people responded to you when you were upset, when you were sad, when you tried to tell them someone did you wrong, or you were happy about something. How did your caregivers respond when you said at 12 years old, I'm happy that I won the math contest at school? Did people celebrate you? Did people say, boy, be quiet, go sit down somewhere? Like even for boys where they're told to not cry, they're told, shut up, stop acting like a sissy. That parents have created some monsters, okay? Please, fathers, if you are listening, allow your sons to express their emotions. Allow your sons to express their emotions. I'm not saying every commercial comes on, he fall out crying. No, that's a problem, okay? But to appropriately express his emotions, that is the best thing you can allow a boy to do. We have too many grown men who have unresolved grief, unresolved challenges because they were never allowed or given the space to express themselves without being badgered, attacked, and told, you're a boy, man up, stop acting like a sissy, you're a girl, you act like a girl like your mother. Please do not do that to the boys. We got to break the cycle, okay, guys? So anyway, again, this is a healing process. It's going to grieve you to let go of patterns and thoughts and core beliefs that you had. But again, if you want to change it, we got to start somewhere, okay? And you guys, if you have questions, please let me know because I'm coming to a close, okay? And so also the other major thing is knowing your attachment style and the way you connect and have relationship with others is that because we are growing up, possibly not having our needs met or having needs that went unmet, it teaches us to accommodate, tolerate, and accept poor behavior from people. Like, you can have a friend who constantly lets you down, and you'll stay in that friendship being repeatedly disrespected, having that friend repeatedly dismiss your request to be a woman or man of her word. You'll entertain that. There's a reason why you entertain that. There's a reason why you have poor boundaries. There's a reason why you don't like to address tough issues that you need to address. There's a reason why you're passive aggressive, because you're afraid to go and have a tough conversation with somebody that you feel that you should have a tough conversation with. I'm challenging you to do it. Have the conversations. Yes, I will save this so you can go back and review it from the beginning. And it'll probably also be on my YouTube page, but I'll let you guys know. Are there any questions, guys, before I wrap up? Because I hate to be repeating myself, because I think I've repeated myself a few times already, okay? So pay attention to your attachment style so that you can work on yourself and rewrite some of the meaning you've given to your experiences so that your relationships can be a little more fulfilling. Okay? And also be careful how you respond to your partner sharing deep personal things with you. Be supportive, be understanding, challenge them to rewrite the meaning they've given to their experiences. Okay? Be encouraging to one another, build each other up, not tear each other down or throw things back in people's face when you're having a little argument or cat scratch. That's not loving at all. At all. Anyway, guys, I will be doing another one, a part two. I'll let you guys know when that will be coming up, but pay attention to how you connect and have a relationship with people. Yourself first, then others. All right, guys. Toodles. Thanks for joining me. See you again Monday at 9:30 p.m.